Hey guys, it's Godbars here, the self-proclaimed hip-hop historian, and this is the 445th episode of my series, where I grab a vinyl from my collection, talk about why I love it, what influence it has, and what its place is in the grand scheme of hip-hop. So today we have an album that holds a very interesting place in not just pop culture and hip-hop, but even in politics, and frankly, I feel like there should be much more discussion around Sister Souljah's 1992 debut, 360 Degrees of Power, which was her one and only full-length album to my knowledge. Before I actually delve into the music itself, I first have to spend at least a good chunk of the video discussing the LP's reception, because this without a doubt is one of the strongest cases of an album where the context surrounding it is intertwined with the content itself. And I don't usually bring up specific quotes and names in terms of old critics and that type of thing, but I am going to do a bit of that here because I feel like it's a microcosm of a much deeper yet extremely prevalent issue today. Easily the most famous critic of 360 Degrees of Power was Bill Clinton, who I don't believe was president yet at the time, but regardless, he pretty grossly singled out Sister Souljah and many of the public speeches she had made, acting as if they were some war cry calling for African Americans to attack white officials and politicians. And this whole situation ultimately resulted in the term a sister soldier moment, which you'll still hear used today. And that refers to when a politician formulates a public response to a certain take or stance they view as extreme, despite that viewpoint seeming like it should align with the party that politician represents. However, Bill Clinton is nowhere near alone when it comes to ignorant people going out of their way to misrepresent this forward-thinking piece of art. In fact, even in the official Wikipedia article for this LP, it says, the album was met with criticism, not only for its performances, most of which were angry spoken word tirades that Souljah screamed rather than traditional hip-hop rhymes, but also because of its controversial lyrics. To me at least, there's something really patronizing about the way they try and frame her lyrics and delivery as these angry spoken word tirades, when those exact same people without a doubt praise rappers like Chuck D or Ice Cube, and would never criticize their passionate deliveries as if they're emotional rants. Even though both of those MCs had clear and undeniable similarities to Sister Souljah, and I feel like that point is pretty hard to refute considering not only did Sister Souljah appear on numerous Public Enemy projects, but she even got guest appearances from both Cube and Chuck D on her full-length debut here. I could go on about how the Deseret News labeled the LP as too hateful to be inspiring, or how Trouser Press said it contains some positive elements but ends up devolving into paranoia and sexism, but I would rather get into the actual content here, because even though the lyrics love to pretend that it's lyrically and musically shallow, I would argue it's the exact opposite with thought-provoking songs like The First Solution, which paints a scenario where the government literally decides to reinstate slavery, putting every black American in a scenario where they either have to report to the designated camps, get put down, or fight back. There's many interesting conceptual moments on here, but one of my favorites comes from the track State of Accommodation, Why Aren't You Angry?, where Sister Souljah and Chuck D trade fiery, poignant verses back and forth. And after the first set of bars, Sister comes in rapping, "Back up off me, you ain't killing me softly, you murdered my child, you better smell the coffee. You think you'd get away with it? You played me like a sucker, so when he's got a badge, I'll shoot that motherfucker. Ain't no fear in my heart of you, you're whiter than white, I gotta do what I gotta do. It's a shame, who's to blame, COP's his name, a mother's pain is my pain." I also want to share her second and final verse since they're relatively brief, and she kicks this one off with, "They take it to court, they fight and they bust this, the cops go free and they call that justice. Don't be surprised, cause you ain't dumb, the Indian said white man speaks with forked tongue. They can't find a gun, they can't find a knife, you're black in this world, you lose your life. Now tell me what you're gonna do, huh? Yeah, I would too." I've already gone over the majority of the featured artists on 360 Degrees of Power, but there is one other guest appearance I didn't mention yet, which comes from Raz Baraka, who's actually the current mayor of Newark, New Jersey. And as for the noisy, grimy production on this thing, That was completely handled by Street Element and the LG Experience. When it comes to my honorable mentions for this one, I want to recommend tracks like African Scaredy Cats in a One Exit Maze, 360 Degrees of Power, The Hate That Hate Produced, Wild Buck Bear, Umbilical Cord to the Future, Brain Teasers and Doubtbusters, and Survival Handbook versus Global Extinction. Then for my overall 3 favorite songs, I would have to choose State of Accommodation, Why Aren't You Angry, N Words Gotta, and Killing Me Softly, Deadly Code of Silence. Thank you for watching my 445th video. Next time we're going to tackle another non-hip-hop album, and this one is definitely outside the wheelhouse of what I normally talk about. So check in for that one, and if you enjoyed, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know what your favorite songs off this extremely underrated one-and-done project are. Don't forget to have a great day, and I'll see you next time, okay? Alright.